The following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Defy Life Podcast, brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network. I'm your host, J.R. Glimp, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Alvin Glimp. What's good, Al?
Hey, what's going on, man? Good to be back. Good to be back.
Uh,
Little summer vacay, feeling good. How you?
yeah, man, everything's good. It's good to be back. It's, like you said, coming off of vacay, jump right into football season. It's ready to get this started,
We
man.
we here. We here.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
Damn.
What, real quick, tell the folks what you've been up to since we last spoke, like 2 months ago.
Like 2 months ago, man, just really been kind of restoring this summer. That's kind of been my focus is just trying to build back up the energy. The year be such a grind work-wise, but then with
Mm,
life. And so just being able to take some time, even with the Aftergate podcast, we didn't do a lot of shows the month of July.
mm,
So just taking time to build back up that energy for finishing out the second half of the season. Had some good family events to go to, people getting
mm.
married and cousins gatherings and all
Right.
of that. And for me, all that kind of builds my soul, builds my energy back up. So was
Absolutely,
kind of
man.
blessed to have those opportunities to, while not busy on other activities, trying to soak up some of the family love. So been good, man. Been good. Good to see you and
Yeah,
everybody else out
absolutely, man. I mean, happy anniversary.
there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You and
29 in the
your
can.
wife just celebrated your 29th anniversary. That's an accomplishment, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you, man. Appreciate
yeah,
that.
and you mentioned like the cousins sleepover we had, and
Mhm.
as we
Mhm.
say, when Pooh's not here, it's all Glamp all the time, right? So we can
All the
talk about
time.
this stuff, but it was it was a unique experience, right? So to let everybody know, we invited all of our cousins um, from, was it 3 generations?
Yeah, it was three
Um,
generations in the building.
yeah. So, um, but split between two two houses, as far as sleeping goes. So it was what, I was a 30, 40 people, maybe.
Over 30, between
Yeah.
30 and 40. I did the count at the
Yeah.
final. We did a group picture,
All
and
right.
there was at least 30 people in that picture.
Yeah. So it was cousins from retired from 65, 67,
hmm
all the way
hmm
down to 6 months. Like it was crazy,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So just spent a weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, um, really just, eating, drinking, partying, relaxing. No hotels. We just
Just
find
like we
somewhere to
used to do
sleep,
back in the
right? Like
day.
we
Find
just
a
do when we
spot.
was kids, find a spot. And it was great, man. Like it was amazing not only to be around family, but continue to build those relationships with like your daughter's boyfriend
hmm hmm
and our cousin just got married, like her now husband, like
hmm
build
hmm
those relationships um, and really just kind of show the younger generation how we get down. Uh, as we get older, we're spread apart and life happens, and it's good to just rekindle those things, man. So that was great.
It was, and just to piggyback, I mean, being able to bond with new family, but also to your point, there are some younger cousins who are coming into their own, entering their prime of life in the young 20s, early 30s. And so,
Hmm.
to your point, to start establishing adult relationships with these
Right.
cousins and
Yeah.
have sharing of old stories and our traditions, it really just helps, I think, continue this love and bond that we have as a family. Very, very special thing. Don't take it for granted. And again, we had a year where people, we lost some people in our village. Some people passed away, had some health challenges. Just life, can wear on you. And so to be
Yeah.
able to come together for a weekend. And so thank you to the hosts. You are one of the hosts in that city, and your sister and niece and
Yeah.
nephew and brother-in-law and wife, and fact that y'all was able to play that role and bring us together. Mucho
Yeah.
gracias.
Hey, no doubt, man. It was a dope experience, and
Salute.
to close it out, all the men got together and made breakfast for everybody. So we slayed for a good little bit that morning. It was hot outside. It was hot inside. But we had a
Yeah, yeah,
spread,
yeah.
man. So shout out to all the guys. Good job, fellas.
Good job, fellas. And then it was a little jump off to a little pancake breakfast.
All
Me and my
right.
family uh cooked for a fraternity about 2 or 3 weeks after that for a little
Okay.
fundraiser.
Oh,
And
good stuff.
so that pancakes, sausage, and eggs and
Mm,
all that we did for the men that day was a
right.
nice little jump off and kind of get us in the mood. And so me, my wife, son, daughter cooked for about 60 folk
Okay.
that morning about 2 weeks ago. So again,
Good stuff, man.
things when you think about what my summer's been like between family, a little
Mm.
outdoor cooking, a little traveling, to leave right now into football, baby. It's
Right.
feeling good, feeling good, feeling good.
Man, yeah. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk a little Cowboys and Jets and Steelers training camps
Hmm.
and preseason so far. But before we do, man, we just had the Olympics wrap up. First,
Yes, sir.
um, I want to ask you something because we're gonna lead with basketball.
Okay.
How I don't want to compare the teams necessarily, but the game itself. How different is it to watch Olympic play now versus the Dream Team in '92, and just how much the game has grown internationally?
It is it really is incomparable
Mm,
because the dream team one was coming into the experience with a vengeance, right? So they
yeah,
came with this attitude of um we coming for blood, we are just
right,
avenging what has happened in the past. So that's one thing. The other
right,
thing is the talent level around the world has
yeah,
significantly increased. And so I think they it's just hard to compare each Olympic
mm,
experience just because each year, each time, the talent gets better and better. And it's just I mean, you look at a Wemby and
yeah,
how great he is, and not just Wemby, but there's like a pipeline of these players
mm,
coming from France. And I think that's just one country, Serbia, Brazil, Germany. There's just a lot of
yeah.
countries that are
South
Sudan,
Sudan,
a lot
yeah,
of countries
like Puerto Rico,
who's stepping their games up.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I
Stepping their
think I
game up.
saw
So
saw a stat that said in '92 that Olympic team faced a total of 9 NBA players in the Olympics.
total.
Total. This year there were 39 outside of
Wow.
the U.S. team. So,
Yeah, yeah.
like, that's crazy. And, and one of those was the 3-time reigning MVP of the NBA. So, like, that is like, it's, and
Even the
it's,
team from Canada looked pretty
right.
impressive.
Yeah. And they didn't make it that far, right?
And they didn't
Um,
even make it that far.
right.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was much more enjoyable. Although it was fun to watch the Dream Team
Hmm.
and the '96 team, it was just fun to watch because you never, like, up to that point, it was undoubtedly the greatest team ever assembled. But now to actually watch the games and be excited about them winning, because the expectations are not that you're going to beat them by 50. Right.
Yeah.
The expectation is, man,
It's
let's
gonna be
let's
a game.
it's gonna be a game, right? So it was just joyous to watch, and the competitiveness, and actually have other teams and countries invested because they think they got a chance. So it was fun to watch.
And it
What was your
requires more collaboration, more cohesion, a
yeah,
better team play.
mm,
I mean, it
selection of
really
roles?
correct,
You can't just
correct.
pick the best 12 players in the
Sacrifice.
world, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. What was it?
But
Did you
the
go
next
ahead?
morning, Sunday morning, I watched the women's play. Their women, the
Hmm.
finals game live. And
Yeah.
to your point, while I came into the game expecting them to run
Mm,
through the
right.
women's team from France.
Yeah.
It really was a nail biter. And
Yeah.
in the third quarter, the women's team, they were down by double digits. And so
Hmm.
they had to come back. And it was just a game where I don't know if it was the nerves, I don't know if it was the competition of the France team, but the ladies team didn't have their best performance. And so fortunately, um, Asia Wilson, best player in the world,
Right.
just put the team on her back and said, "Yeah, we got this."
Gamecocks, baby. But yeah, man. Did you have a favorite Olympic moment?
Oh, my favorite Olympic moment. Definitely got the chance to watch some gymnastics,
Hmm.
and so watching Simone and the ladies team
Yeah.
uh, do their thing and win the gold, I thought that was pretty impressive. Um, the soccer team, watching the ladies
Mm,
women's soccer team win, I thought that was pretty cool too.
yeah.
I think I didn't get to watch a lot of track and field, but the couple of races that I saw were really competitive. But I think actually my favorite moment was the gold medal um relay in the swimming medley. And for
Mm,
some reason, the reason it's my best memory is because as I'm watching it, I just kind of stumbled on it. But I remember that I really do like this event. Like I'm
mm,
watching it, I'm like, I forgot about this event. And just to see the diversity in people, having to do four different strokes, and
hmm.
because I might be better at one stroke than you, I might be leading, but when it's time for the you to do your stroke that you're really good
Right.
at, you're able to make up time. It was just pretty
Right.
fascinating to
Yeah,
watch. So
that
I
is
watched the
cool.
women's medley, and it was kind of cool for the medal.
That's dope. Yeah, I think
How
my
about you?
I think my favorite was the gold medal in the men's 400 track.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Quincy Hall, and to see him, who was in like fifth place coming down down the stretch, and you can see like we've all run distances before, and your back locks up,
mm-hmm.
and it's like everything's tight, and you got to pull everything out of you, and you can see him just willing himself to victory, and
Yeah.
it was it's just such an Olympic moment, like 'cause you might never be back there again. And if you do, it's going to be at least 4 years. So he left
Wow.
everything out there, and that was a good moment. And the 400 is kind of the redheaded stepchild of the sprint events because everybody loves the 100 and the 200.
Everybody, no, right.
But so
But you got to be special to run that 400 though.
right, yeah. And even myself, I was waiting for the 100 and the 200, and I saw that. I
Hmm.
was like, yo, dude, pull that out. Like that was great to see. But there was a lot of good moments, man. Shout out to
Yeah.
all the athletes from all the countries. To see I forget her name, but the woman from St. Lucia that won the country's first ever medal and beat
Mm.
Shikari in the 100.
That
Um,
was people had her penciled in as
yeah,
as a
right.
yeah.
So that was cool, man.
And that's what I
But
love about the Olympics. It's
yeah,
like
absolutely.
you just never know. It's
Yeah,
just about who's better that day, that
yeah.
event.
And I didn't know they had breakdancing in the Olympics now.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, I didn't know. This is the first year, and I saw
First year.
this.
We'll see if it comes next year. Still not confirmed, which
We'll
I
see.
didn't know. I just assumed once you in, you in.
You're right.
But no, we'll see if it's on. It's gonna be at the next one. But yeah, I was looking forward to it because one, I wanted to see how it was talked about, if it was given the
Yeah.
love and shine and credit
All
that it
right.
deserved. But I just, I thought it was, while I was a little skeptical because when I
Mm-hmm.
first heard it, I'm like, break
Right. Mhm.
dancing in the
Yeah.
Olympics?
All right.
Wow, we've come a long way from spinning on
Yeah.
a cardboard in the Bronx.
All right.
But I think it was well done. And again, salute to all the breakers who represented their countries and represented the art and
All right.
hip hop very, very well, very well.
Right. Even the Australian breakdancer, she
Even
was, yeah,
Australia's breakdancing.
she
And
was cheeks, but
if
she tried.
she tried, and again, if what she accomplished was to get more and more people who
Right.
probably wouldn't even know breaking
Yeah.
still occurs,
Yeah.
great job. Because I was
Absolutely.
talking about it in at least three different meetings today with
Right.
people who were like, "Did you see the Australian woman breaking in the Olympics?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So they need some
Yeah.
breakers need some publicity because there are some people out here who is trying to not only just maintain that culture and keep it
Mhm.
going like you see all over the world, but
Yeah.
there's also a group of people who are trying to pass on this talent, this culture to our youth. And so
Yeah.
I like the fact that it might have got a little publicity bump so that more and more people might be interested in making sure our kids know how to break.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So shout out to again all the athletes, man. I think 2028 we got
Hmm.
flag football coming to the Olympics, so
Hey,
that should and
I was
baseball and
born,
softball are coming back.
I was born 30 years too early. All the flag football I've played in my
Right.
life.
Yeah,
Who
man.
knew it would have been an Olympic sport?
Right. Well, at least there's breakdancing because you
At
probably could
least
do
there's
that. Could do
breakdancing.
what she
Hey,
did.
I could definitely, well, I'm not going to say
All
definitely.
right.
I'm not even going to play myself. There was a time I could do what she did.
Yeah,
I'll say that, but I can't
no
now.
doubt.
And I'm even going to claim to. So
Cool,
big ups to
cool.
her.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, man. Let's get right to it, man. It's football season. I'm thirsty right now.
Yeah,
So,
we
you
back.
want to start with Cowboys or Jets?
Let's go Cowboys since I just saw them yesterday.
Okay.
Got to watch them on the preseason. So let's go
Uh,
Cowboys.
all right. First off, um, to address an elephant in the room. What's the deal with CD, man?
You know, typical Jerry Jones um negotiation.
Hmm.
He is a true businessman where he's gonna try to get the best deal possible. And he, like many businessmen, believe that the best deals happen when both people really want to make a deal.
All
You
right.
know what I mean? Like, so he not he not trying to overpay a penny. So he's gonna wait till it's like, all right, me and you in this room. Neither one of us is leaving this room till we get a deal. And if he save himself $1 million, and he gonna be happy.
All right.
So you come to expect it. It's what you get with Jerry Jones.
No doubt.
Um, but we all know that CD's gonna get signed. He's gonna get
Yeah.
broke off, gonna make a lot of money, and he will be playing with the Cowboys this year.
No doubt. What what did you think about the first preseason game? I know it's a lot of dudes that won't be on the roster when the
Yeah,
season
yeah.
starts, but
But
any
got a chance to
takeaways?
watch Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think he's a pivotal player this season to be watching
Yeah.
because um you don't know what you're gonna get. He's still a very, very young quarterback, even though he's been in the league. I think this is his third season. Um, and so I think it's critical that the Cowboys decide this offseason is he's worth continuing to invest in. Like they got to figure out what do they have with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he didn't turn over the ball, I thought that was a good sign.
Yeah.
Because a lot of young quarterbacks, you see a lot of turnovers. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that, I think he didn't fail the test, but it's not like I walked away saying he's the dude. So
Right.
like that. But to your point, a lot of people who won't make it, but you definitely saw some guys who if they have a couple more games like this, they will be on the roster.
All right.
So I like what I see all with our offensive lineman, our first round pick, Guyton,
Mm-hmm.
out of Oklahoma. He looked solid for his first game.
Okay.
Um, we got one of our linebackers back from last year who had tore his ACL,
Okay.
Overshown.
Oh yeah,
So
big fan of his.
right, big fan of
Yeah.
his, and so to see him back running around, looking
Mhm.
healthy, that's a good relief. And the Cowboys, it's a offensive line, defensive line is where, um, and wide receiver is where we're gonna need some guys to step up, like and fill in some holes. I think the biggest issue, everything being everything, is we really don't know what we have with our running game. And
Mm.
so I say that because I think we pretty confident we got a solid running game. The question is, what do we have with Zeke?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just are we going to be better than solid? Because if he's better than solid, then that's a real. I mean, he's still young. I mean, he's old for a running back. The
Yeah.
way we look at running backs now, because he's 28,
All
but
right.
he's still only 28. And
All right.
so let's see what we got. A healthy Zeke, if we can keep him
Yeah,
healthy.
Zeke like Julio old. Like, like Julio was still like 27, but his body was starting to break down, and he was like
Yeah,
been there
yeah,
forever. He's like,
yeah.
you don't know what you're gonna get if he's healthy,
You don't know
and
what you're gonna get.
you don't know what you're gonna get. So, gotta wait and see. So,
So
last
hoping
question
for
on
the
the
best.
Cowboys: Is this y'all year?
Come on, I'm a Cowboy fan, so it's our year.
Right.
Playing. You already know. It's our year. I think we the
Absolutely.
best team in our division. I'm gonna say that, and I like what Philly's done. I mean,
Mm,
trust Saquon is definitely a good addition,
yeah.
but they've taken some hits on defense and
Yeah.
and on the offensive line. So
All
we'll
right.
see what it looks like with the Eagles, and I'm not scared of the Giants. I'll be surprised if they win 7 games. And
Mm,
while I do like Jaden Daniels, I really do think he's gonna be a player. Redskins still a couple of years away.
yeah.
So I think we got a good shot to win our division, and
Commanders.
we'll see.
Yeah.
San
Com-
Fran is still the beast. They're still a team to
Commanders.
beat.
Yeah.
Oh, what
You
did I call them? The Redskins?
yeah. But
No
so
respect. No
yeah, I
respect.
mean, it's good.
None.
We you know what era we from. Yeah. It's
We know where era we're from, and again,
yeah.
it's just a little hostility towards that team in Washington. So
All right.
it's it's
Yeah,
like that guy that comes to your house and he says, "Excuse me, sir, my name is," and you still call him the old name. Like, man, whatever. I
right.
ain't calling you.
Yeah, that's true. Well, at least I ain't the football team no more.
So feeling good, man. This is
Yeah,
our year. Let's go, boys. Let's get it.
cool. All right.
Let's get it.
What do you think about the Jets? Yeah.
Ah, the Jets got Aaron Rodgers back.
Mm,
So it all starts there.
all
They
right.
built a team to win last year. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. That was it.
Yeah.
The season ended
Pretty
4
much.
plays into the
Yeah.
season. Um, so Aaron is healthy. He's slinging it in the training camp. They're not going to give him a chance to play till
All right.
this real season because we don't want to take no chances. Um, but what I saw in the first preseason game, again, some players who are standing out. Braylon Allen, running back,
Mm,
solid, big,
yeah.
but fast running back.
Hmm.
I think he's gonna add something to Brees Hall. That little combination I think should be pretty
Hmm.
impressive. Give us a solid run game to work with. And I also like the lineman out of I think Penn State, Fashanu.
Olu Fashanu?
Fash-
Yeah. Olu
yeah,
Fashanu?
yeah,
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Very
He's nice.
athletic,
Hmm.
very athletic, and you know with Tyron Smith and Moses as your tackles, chances are he gonna get some playing time
Right.
because
Yeah.
both them
At some
brothers
point.
might miss a
Yeah.
game or two.
Yeah. All right.
They're gonna miss a game or two.
Yeah. Cool.
What else? I think when I look at the Jets, the other thing is just um, can we get a pass rush? Is going to be critical.
Mm-hmm.
Because we lost some guys on our defensive line from Bryce Huff to John Franklin Myers. Like, so those are
Hmm.
guys that got us some sacks, got us some pressure. So can the Jets um, recreate and get us some pass rush? Solid secondary with Sauce leading the way. But if we can get a pass rush, then our defense would be solid. And I expect the Jets to put up some points with Aaron and that offense as long as he stays healthy. So Miami is probably the team to beat
Yeah.
in the AFC East. But if the Jets stay healthy, and specifically Aaron Rodgers stay healthy, I think they're gonna make some noise.
Yeah. What do you expect Buffalo to kind of take a step back this year?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I I feel like their window to compete in the AFC took a hit this past offseason.
Yeah.
And I definitely think losing Diggs is going to be a concern. And I think Josh Allen's going to put up good numbers, but I think it's just going to be one of them instances where they're going to have to find some more talent for put around him
Yeah.
to win in this AFC. So I think their window is actually taken is closed this first round, but I think
Yeah.
they could eventually rebuild because he's that type of quarterback.
No
I
doubt.
just don't think this is their season.
But if it don't work out with Josh, they got Mitch Trubisky back. And
Oh, that's exciting.
yeah, for the other 31 teams. I don't know how excited they are in Buffalo. But yeah,
Nah.
I was glad to
What
have
you
him
think
out of
about New
Pittsburgh.
England? What you think about New England this year?
Um, I don't expect much as far as wins and losses. I mean, still
Hmm.
rebuilding with a rookie coach.
Yep.
Um, I was impressed with Joe Milton, and what I've heard and what I saw from him in the
Mm-hmm.
preseason game.
Hmm.
Um, Not as much Drake May, but
Mm.
that was more what I expected as far as Drake May. I didn't expect him to hit the ground running.
Yeah, yeah.
But Joe Milton is when I first started hearing the buzz around how well he was, performing in camp. I just thought it was just some Joe Milton stuff, man. I was like, you know, dude's probably the greatest practice player of all time. He's gonna wow you with his arm and
Right,
do
right.
backflips and do all kind of crazy stuff, and so he's got to read defenses. So we'll see how that progresses. As teams are not as vanilla in the preseason, but
Yeah.
he looks good. He's exciting to watch. Um, Other than that, man, I, I'm trying to separate my hatred for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady now that they're both gone, and they got a young, you know, first time head coach who has his
Hmm.
own slate. So,
Hmm.
but just, I mean, it's been 20 years, man. I hate the Patriots. So I, I can't let go of that. but,
I'm not even
I'm,
trying.
yeah,
But
man.
it's easier because they in the same division as the Jets. So I have a real
Right.
legitimate reason to continue
Yeah.
to hate them. I don't care who your coach is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not allowed to say anything positive about the Patriots. So
Yeah.
F the Patriots, man.
So thinking of them
Um,
Steelers, what you thinking?
oh man. I mean, first thing, of course, is quarterback competition, which
Hmm.
is now a
Hmm.
legit competition. Russell Wilson was out for a week and a half with a calf injury, so it gave Justin Fields all the first team reps he wanted, and he's
Hmm.
been looking
Hmm.
good, from most reports, and it's kind of up and down in the first preseason game. If you just look at the stats, the baseline stats, it was great. Um, 5 for 6, 67 yards. It didn't lead to a score, but then you got two bots fumbles on snaps.
Hmm.
You still saw kind of those same tendencies of like holding on to the ball too long, but
Hmm.
it's the first preseason game. He's not going to take
Hmm.
off running, and so he's trying to build on other things. So you're not going to really get the full story there. So this week Mike Tomlin does, he said he doesn't know who's going to start in week 2 of preseason, so we'll see.
Okay. Okay.
So it's really a competition. So I'm happy either way. It's not, like I said, it's no Kenny Pickett, there's no Mitchell Trubisky, so it can't be any worse. But it looks, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Najee Harris, like he slimmed down a lot.
Okay.
More involved in the passing game. Jalen Warren's gonna do Jalen Warren shit. Uh, you know,
He's nice.
yeah, I'm excited that we, got 2 young bookend tackles and Fautanu and Broderick Jones.
Uh-huh.
And the defense is gonna be Pittsburgh's defense. Like you know what you're getting. But I'm excited about Patrick Queen and even Peyton Wilson. Wasn't a
Hmm.
fan of his before the draft, but he looks good. He's grown on me, no doubt. Um, you know, Dante Jackson. I'm excited about the defense, but that's a constant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really just
Always.
ready to see what you get from George Pickens is the #1 receiver. Involved, they get Pat Fryermuth involved in the passing game. A new offensive coordinator, so it's just a lot of new
Mm.
blood, man, and I'm excited for it, man. Such a strong division, you can't really say like
Yeah.
between Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Cleveland, they're almost going to cannibalize each other in that division play. Um, and unfortunately, in situations like this, whoever has the best quarterback usually comes out on top. But it's so tough to
Mm.
say because Pittsburgh pretty much ran that division last year in division play with the worst
Mm.
quarterback play you could possibly have. So we'll see. At least we have, whether it's Fields or Russ, you've got a guy who can at least sustain drives and keep your defense in the game and don't have to win it all the time. So it's a tough division, man. I don't know who's going to win it. I don't know who's going to finish last. An injury or two here or there could probably decide. So what we do know is Mike Tomlin going to bring him ready to play.
You do know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all definitely got an argument to claim like best division in football. And I think when I look at y'all's team, I was thinking that the best thing that could happen to the Steelers is Russ plays, starts, and then for some reason somehow Justin gets on and kind of takes it from there. But
yeah,
I really think the best thing is for Justin to start and play well. Like I'm a Justin Fields fan. I
yeah,
really think that there's a lot of talent there, and it would be great to see him succeed with Tomlin. Like I'm just gonna root
yeah,
for him, even though I'm not the biggest Steeler fan, but I'm definitely gonna root for him to be successful. And if he's successful, that's a that's a ooh, that division right there is gonna be rough.
yeah. And it's funny. I was just talking to Lincoln about this. Like those 2 quarterbacks are great in their own right, as far as
Hmm.
what they do well. But the
Hmm.
Steelers don't owe either one of them anything, right?
Hmm.
This is their first
Hmm.
year there. They don't have any loyalty to either one of them. So it's truly a competition of who plays best. And you're right. I think the best scenario would be for Fields to just light it up because then you've got a decade of a guy who could be
Hmm.
your guy.
Yep.
As opposed to, I would love it if Russ comes and lights it up, but you only got a year or two, and you got to start over. So yeah, I'm with you. Best case scenario, Justin Fields wins it and he hits the ground running. Um, but you always want your team to win. So whoever is
Long shot winning.
all right.
Oh, this way winning.
Yeah. And there's a lot of talk of the Steelers acquiring Brandon Ayuk. So we'll see.
Hmm.
I hope they don't. But because then you got to pay him.
So, would you rather have on your team the young potential stud quarterback
Mm.
or the um above average veteran quarterback?
On this particular team,
Uh-huh.
I I lean to Russell Wilson
Uh-huh. Okay.
because that offense is so young. You got, George Pickens is your number one receiver. Like I said, we got a young offensive line. Like we're looking at the third youngest offense in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you kind of almost want that steady veteran presence. Um, and so it won't be as many highs and lows as you're gonna get with Justin Fields.
Mm.
But damn, those highs look good with Fields. It's hard. It is extremely hard to shy away from that. So um, this particular team, I lean towards Russ, but I wouldn't be mad with Fields.
Yeah. He- Um, the one thing I think I I like I mean, it's definitely a roll of the dice. It's the upside
Yeah,
that intrigues me with a young quarterback. The problem though is so many of them are just inconsistent.
right,
Um, and like even watching Trey Lance, there was a couple of throws was like, oh, I didn't know you had an arm like that. Like,
right,
wow, that's pretty impressive. And then others, it's like, oh wow, you just overthrew that guy. Like,
right,
he was
yeah,
wide open.
right.
So,
And so you're gonna get those moments with Fields.
mhm,
But I mean, as far as passing the ball, he looked good. But it's like I
mhm,
said, it's the holding on to the ball too long, taking unnecessary sacks, like this being decisive. Those things that just come with experience,
yeah,
and sometimes they don't ever come. So,
yeah, that's the problem.
but yeah, but this team, the way it's constructed, it will be easier if Russ plays, and if he's mediocre to bad, bring in Justin,
Mm.
as opposed to vice versa. If Justin's bad, you can't really go to Russ and come back to Justin and have a future.
So, what y'all do have is a decent stable of running backs.
Yeah.
Would you foresee this year being a run first, pass second offense either way with these quarterbacks, or do you think the game plan might change based on
Um.
who's saying hike?
Yeah, I think it's pretty consistent. Of course, Justin can do things that Russ can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Like off schedule.
Mhm.
Um, but and that's a good thing about. I think it's the first time in years that the Steelers can roll out the same playbook from quarterback 1 through 3 and still can
Mm.
be consistent in their play call. Um, you know, um, and with Arthur Smith as the coordinator, it's going to pretty much be run first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Count on
know,
that.
right? But I don't think you have to change up anything depending on who's the quarterback. I mean, I think there may be more occasionally designed runs for Justin Fields,
Mm.
but he's going to get his running opportunities whether it's designed or not. That's just who he is, and that's what makes him dangerous.
You got to use his legs.
Yeah. So, um, well, if Pooh was here, we talk about some bear stuff, but Pooh's not here, and I guess he'll catch
Who's
us
not
up.
you?
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, man. Anything you want to shout out before we bounce?
Only thing I want to shout out is go vote. To all listeners, make a
Absolutely.
plan. Make sure you vote. As we talk this podcast going into the election, I'm just gonna remind people I don't care who you vote for. It ain't really my business. But this is not the election to sit at home.
It is
Get
not.
out there and vote.
Yeah, and get informed.
And get informed. Make an informed decision. You're
Yes,
right.
it is 2024. If you are not informed, that is a choice.
Hmm. And a bad one.
All right. So, yeah, I'm with you on that, man. Get out and vote and encourage your friends,
Yes.
your neighbors,
Yes.
your
Yes.
of age kids, all those
Please
people.
get out
Get out
there.
and vote. If you know an old person, take them with you. So,
This is that election.
yeah. So, yeah, man. I ain't got nothing crazy. Just excited to be back. I'm excited
Yes,
to
sir.
talk some football next week. We'll have Al's baseball roundup. Al will get us caught up on what's going on in Major League Baseball.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Um,
sir.
Pooh will be back with us. Yeah, his son is at a football, and his son's a senior too. Jesus, um, at a football scrimmage tonight. So shout out to Pooh.
Shout out to Pooh.
Um,
See you next week.
yeah, so hope you put your cape on, go save some more cats out of trees and kindergartners.
That
We'll
man is
be
he's amazing.
He is amazing. We'll just be here in fresh new studios in downtown South Dakota.
Yes, sir. We'll be
Yeah,
here.
man, absolutely. Well, we'll talk to y'all next week, man. It is preseason week number 2. We'll catch y'all up on that. Al's baseball roundup, and next week we'll give y'all some trivia. So we'll bring it next week. Until then, Defy life.
Bye life. Yes, sir. Oh.